Yo, what is going on, my people? Welcome back to this channel. And as we are less than a week away from the new Premier League season, I thought it'd be time to do my Premier League predictions. You've probably seen like 1,000 videos. Apple Watch, shush. You've probably seen like 1,000 videos of Premier League predictions. You've probably seen, you know, like Bouvet, Boré, all the standard people, Dogden. You've probably seen all those, but mine's gonna have a little bit more thought into it. You know, some of those guys a little bit biased, a little bit untrue in what they say. They don't fully believe what they're saying. I am actually a mastermind when it comes to football and analysing football. I told everyone last year Arsenal were not going to win the league whilst the World Cup was happening. And guess what? Arsenal didn't win the league, yet everyone wanted to tell me that I was wrong.
I can see it, I feel it. I can, it's cooking.
So let's start, unfortunately, with the three teams that are going to get relegated. Obviously starting at 20th place. 20th, I'm going for Luton Town. I'm sorry, Luton fans. First time in the Premier League. Welcome to the Premier League. But I think you're going to finish 20th. You really haven't signed anyone of Premier League quality. Tae Chong, is he really Premier League quality? Issa Kabore, I feel like he needed a loan in the Championship before stepping up to the Premier League. So, you know, you got some good talents though. Ryan Giles, decent, but once again, Premier League quality, I don't know. Amari Bell, obviously a star for Jamaica. They love him out there, was a star for you last season. And then Mpanzu, the man that's made it from non-league to the Premier League. But can he do it in the Prem? Hopefully. I personally hope that you can. But the real question is, will they? And as much as I want them to, I don't think they can. So that's why Luton, unfortunately, you're going 20th. Now on to 19th. A club that seems to be in the Prem, in the Championship, in the Prem, in the Championship, in the Prem, in the Championship. And they keep spending money. And that club is Sheffield United. Come on, when are you finally going to get some direction in your club? I don't know what's happening. You're just up, then you're down, then you're up, then you're down, and you just spend money, but we see no improvement. You know, they brought in Yasser Larouche, a man that I was very fond of. Being a Liverpool fan myself, I was kind of disappointed when we let him go. Yasser Larouche, I think he's a great talent. Then, other than that, like, who have they really brought in? Have they brought enough quality once again? Is their team, their core team, enough quality? Is Ryan Brewster ready to step up to that striker role after losing Billy Sharp? I'm just not sure. So therefore, going for 19th. 18th, a team that has been probably knocking on the door of relegation for a while now. They had one good season, one very good season. But Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm picking you for 18th. You know, you're in a bit of bother with financial fair play. You've sold so many players. Raul Jimenez, Collins, Ruben Neves, letting him go to the Saudi League. Connor Cody's left the club. He's gone to Leicester. I know he's not good enough, but like, he's been at Wolves for a while. He understands what it is to be a Wolves player. Adama Traore contract running out. You know, a lot of losses, but then again, you've brought in quite a lot of players. You brought in Cunha. Well, you made Cunha permanent. Brought in Boubacar Traore. Matt Doherty has returned to the club. What a weird transfer. Fabio Silva might get his chance. Goncalo Guedes is back from the Portuguese league. He might be a bit refreshed. He might be better. You're in trouble with FFP. Doesn't look like you're going to be able to bring in any more to strengthen before the start of the season. So honestly, I'm worried for Wolves, and I think they go down in that third place. But they will be battling with the team that I have in 17th place, which is Fulham. They've lost Mitrovic. He said he'd never play for the club again if they didn't sell him to the Saudi League. Obviously, didn't decide to pursue Manuel Sullivan, who was key in a way to their season last season off the bench. But they have brought in Calvin Bassey. They have brought in Raul Jimenez. Can Raul Jimenez find that Wolves form again? Or will he be the Raul Jimenez of the past 2 seasons that just hasn't been quite at it? I don't know. Will he replace Mitrovic's 15 goals for last season? I'm not sure. That's why I've gone for Fulham in 17th. I think they just survive, but narrowly hang on. you know, Wolves, Fulham, they're going to be battling for that 18th place. 16th, I'm going for Crystal Palace. Brought in Jefferson Lerma, lost Zaha on a free, and he went to Galatasaray. Lost some experience in MacArthur and Milivojevic, which is fine, but then you need to replace them. But they've got Decore, who's looking very good. But I just don't think they have the quality to push, you know, that top 15. I think they're going to be safe by April. Like, I don't think it's going to come down to the last few weeks. Maybe middle of March is when they're safe. But I don't think they're going to do particularly well this season. 15th, Everton. The past 2 seasons, they've been struggling. But this season, they managed to bring in Danjuma and Ashley Young, which honestly aren't too bad for Everton. I think they're going to be safe, but I don't think they're going to be amazing. I don't think they're going to blow anyone out the water. I don't think we're going to see a new Everton. Sean Dyche's Everton is relatively going to be the same as last year's. And a pretty decent side, but just 15th for them. Now we move on to 14th place, where I am going for Nottingham Forest. I won't call them Notts Forest because Notts Forest fans will get angry with me. But Nottingham Forest at a 14th. They brought in Elanga. They made Chris Wood a permanent. They brought in Hovrath. They've brought in Ola Aina, who is actually pretty sick. But obviously they've lost Keylor Navas. They've lost Jack Colback. They have lost Sam Surridge, and Renan Lodi has returned to Atletico Madrid after his loan. I think Forest will be fine this year. They might be a bit shaky at the start, but they bought so many players last season that they don't really need to buy any this season. The 3 signings that they've brought in, well, 2 plus making Chris Wood permanent, are very smart, and their squad's going to be nice. It's a bit more lean than last season. I'm excited for them. I think they'll be good. They can cause a couple of problems to some of the mid-table teams. Forest are going to be there in 14th. 13th, a team that I'm very impressed with their business. All right, Bournemouth. An incredible end to the season last season, and now they've added Hamid Junior Traore to that squad. They've added Milos Kerkez to that squad. They've added Romain Favre, which is a great signing, by the way. And they've added Justin Kluivert, which for Bournemouth to get a man that was playing European football, that is very good. And then they've added a bit of experience with Radu as well. Honestly, I'm very impressed with the business Bournemouth have done this transfer window. It was much needed after last season, obviously in the relegation zone for a long time, but obviously managed to survive. Smart signings. They got rid of Lerma, Pearson and Dembele, people that they really didn't need at the club. I'm really excited for Bournemouth this season. I see them finishing 13th. It's great for them considering how last season went. And 12th, I'm going for the final newly promoted team, Burnley. Shall we start with the signings? I'm actually going to have to pick up my notepad. That's got my notes on to go through the signings here. They brought in Amadoune, Belgian striker. Looks very promising. They brought in James Trafford from Manchester City. We all saw what he was doing in the under-21s Euros throughout the summer. They brought in Bayer. They brought in Darrell O'Shea. They made Michael Obafemi permanent. They brought in Vigouroux. So they've got Trafford and Vigouroux, which are 2 great goalkeepers. Vigouroux was doing craziness in League 2 last season, and Trafford was doing very well for himself as well last season. And then Wout Weghorst is back from his loan at Manchester United, which will have given him a lot of Premier League experience. He played a lot of Premier League minutes last season, and he'll come back with a lot more knowledgeable, and he will help lead this Burnley side to staying in the Premier League. And that's why I've got them all the way up at 12th. I honestly think Vincent Kompany has an incredible style of play. He's a very smart manager, and I think he'll guide Burnley towards the top half, but just not quite the top half of the table. 11th, we move on to West Ham. Obviously, their major outgoing, Declan Rice, to Arsenal for a world record fee, but they still, with a week to go until the season starts, they still haven't replaced him. They haven't brought anyone in just yet. They was looking for James Ward-Prowse. They seem to have got priced out of a deal by Southampton, so they've wasted a lot of time replacing Rice and bringing players in, but they once again have European football this season, obviously winning the Conference League last season, gets them the Europa League this season. I think they're going to struggle a bit, but not too much to the point where they drop to like 15th, 16th, 17th, battling relegation. I just think 11th's good for them. A new European competition, a harder one, and so far they haven't signed anyone, so I think they're going to struggle a bit, but 11th should be fine. And talking about the Premier League, SORARE is back for another season. SORARE is an online fantasy football app just like FPL, but it's for the people who like a bit more of the little details. So players will gain points through all actions in the game, whether that be accurate passes, misplaced passes, missed shots, missed penalties, penalties conceded. It's just a bit more detailed than FPL. It has a system where you can collect cards just like match attacks, and you can use them in certain ladders to help boost your team and boost your score to win those ladders. But if buying cards isn't for you and you want to play free to play, it's fine, because SORARE have their own weekly draft. Not only in the Premier League, they have the Bundesliga, they have the Spanish League, and they have the Italian League as well. So you can play SORARE completely free by playing in their free draft ladders every week. And I'm going to build mine for this weekend, the opening weekend of the Premier League, right now. So here I am on SORARE right now. We're going to hit Premier League Amateur and we're going to register. And we're going to start off by selecting our goalkeeper. For some reason, we've already got Alisson as our goalkeeper. I guess I'd go Botman and De Bruyne, because why not? Why not pick De Bruyne? He's there. Might as well. I'm going to pick Darwin Núñez. He's had a great preseason. And honestly, I think he's going to be very, very good. And then it's between Onana and Iwobi. Aston Villa have a tough game with Newcastle. I think Everton have the easier game with Fulham, going off my predictions. Mings actually gets better average score. So I'm going to go for Mings. And my captain, obviously, is going to be Kevin De Bruyne against Burnley. He has the easiest game there. I've just realised I've got Botman and Mings and they play each other. That's not smart. So I'm going to go Iwobi. Captain's still De Bruyne. And we're going to confirm. Just like that, you've got the La Liga one as well if you're interested in the La Liga. I am not. Make sure that you sign up to SORARE today using the link below. And remember to have fun. That's what this is all about.
Your legacy starts now.
10th, I've got Brentford. And as I'm recording this, David Raya is about to go to Arsenal. And I wrote this down before that. But I did factor in the fact they've brought in Collins, they've brought in Schlader, they've brought in Flecken. So they already knew that Raya was going. So they've bolstered the defence with Collins, which is great. They lost Pontus Jansson at the end of last season. His contract ran out. And then they've brought in Schlader, who can play on the wing, he can play up front. He's basically their temporary replacement for Ivan Toney until January. And then he'll probably become a rotation player on the wings with Mbeumo and Wissa. But then they brought in Flecken, who's got a level head goalkeeper. They've got Strakosha as well. Very level-headed goalkeeper, very experienced goalkeepers. So them losing Raya isn't too bad for them. They've got two experienced goalkeepers ready to come in. And yeah, I think their only problem is obviously losing Ivan Toney until January. That is their big problem. But we saw last season, Yoane Wissa, especially off the bench, he was incredible. So he'll be able to do that again. If he can do that again from a starting position this season, I don't see why they can't finish in the top half. And that's why I've gone for them at 10th. For 9th, I've gone for Newcastle United. And Geordies, please don't hate me. Newcastle fans, please don't hate me. But honestly, you've lost St. Maximin. You brought in Tonali and Barnes. 2 signings in, 1 player out. Eddie Howe's a great coach. Get me that. But it's Champions League football we're talking about. It's a very, very tough competition. We saw what happened to Leicester when they got Champions League football. They tumbled down the table. Tonali, great signing, but he seems uninterested to be at Newcastle. I can't lie. To me, personally, I don't think he wants to be there. I feel like he was forced out of Milan because of the situation that's happening in Milan. I feel like Tonali wanted to be a Milan legend, but now he's been forced out of the club, which is sad for him. Newcastle, you've got yourself a great player. But the thing I'm most concerned about is he actually going to play for the badge at your club? Will he get invested in Newcastle? Will he want to play for the club? Sort of like Dimitri Payet at West Ham, like he did, but then he eventually went back to Marseille. So it was like, oh, the season later he went back to Marseille. So it was like, oh, he was there for a year, he was great, he was brilliant, but then you lost him. And the same might happen to Newcastle, but I'm not sure. I've gone for 9th. I don't know if they've got the squad to compete in the Champions League. So I don't know. It's a lot of games as well, especially if they make it out of the groups. 8th, I'm going for Spurs. They've brought in Mano Solomon. They've brought in James Maddison. They've brought in that goalkeeper. I can't think of his name right now. And it looks like they're going to bring in Mickey van der Ven. If Mickey van der Ven is the player that we all expect him to be, they might finish a bit higher than 8th. They might push 6th. And obviously you have to factor in the possibility that they might lose Harry Kane to Bayern Munich before the season starts. So if they do lose Kane, the season's even worse. You're relying on Mano Solomon and Richarlison to score a bunch of your goals. 2 guys that haven't really played full 90s in the Premier League for a long time. Richarlison was on a bench largely last year, and Mano Solomon, he was a super sub for Fulham last year. You've got a new defender coming in Mickey van der Ven. If you're going to throw him straight in, then wow, he has to adapt. And then you've got a new goalkeeper because Hugo Lloris is done at Tottenham. Yeah, the side just lacks quality, even with James Maddison brought in, even with the signings, the outgoings. Is Kulusevski good enough? Yes, but is Son dropping off? I don't know. But yeah, I've gone for them at 8th. Unfortunately, Spurs fans, not a great season for Spurs. 7th, oh my god, 7th, I am going for a team that impressed me so much since this man's come in, and the signings that they've made this summer are just wow. Like wow, I'm shocked. Aston Villa. Since Unai Emery taken over at Aston Villa, they're a completely different team. They're fun to watch. They play good football. They score goals. They're defensively solid. And somehow Tyrone Mings looks good, right? They've brought in Pau Torres. Once again, shoring up the defense. They've got European football this year. And they've got a man that knows how to play European football. He's won European trophies. They've brought in Moussa Diaby, another man that knows how to play European football. From Bayer Leverkusen. Played European football for like 2-3 years now, I believe. He's going to add some great European experience to the squad, rotating with Leon Bailey. The Bayer Leverkusen boys, they were both there, I think, at the same time, and they're both at Aston Villa now. And then Tielemans, they've brought in just to add to that midfield depth that they have. Their midfield just gets better and better every summer. They've got a great midfield. Douglas Luiz, Coutinho, Jacob Ramsey, Tielemans now. Then Donker, he don't really play, but he's there. Like, I feel that's what they've brought Tielemans for as well. And then they've got rid of Nakamba and Ashley Young, players that they should have got rid of, if I'm being honest. Like, Nakamba just wasn't good enough. He's gone to Luton. Like, okay, cool. And then Ashley Young's very old now. Very old. But yeah, they got rid of him. I just want to know what Unai Emery's cooking. I'm putting him as 7th. They get European football again. I'm pretty sure they're going to have a decent European campaign. And that's really it for Aston Villa. I'm excited to watch them this season. 6th. I'm not sure about this pick. I've gone for Brighton. They've brought in João Pedro. They've brought in Bart Verbruggen. They've brought in Igor. They've brought in Milner, Dahoud, which is great. Milner, Dahoud, Igor. 3 guys that have all played European football. Look at these clubs playing European football, bringing in European experience. James Milner has won it all. He's won every trophy you can win in domestic football. João Pedro, exciting. I've always been a fan of João Pedro, and I'm glad he gets his chance in the Premier League again. And once again, I'm going for them at 6th, and I think they're going to have a great European campaign. We're into the top 5, the top quarter of the Premier League, and my number 5th pick, Europa League football, is returning to the Emirates. I'm picking Arsenal. Honestly, Rice, Timber, Havertz, Ings, Granit Xhaka out. The thing that I thought Arsenal was missing last season is a serious leader. They've done that in Rice, but I also thought they were missing someone that is a leader but has also won quite a bit in their career. You know, like how Liverpool signed James Milner. Declan Rice. Now, Can he handle the pressure of being the most expensive English signing ever? Kai Havertz, he's never looked very convincing in the Premier League. So what is a move to Arsenal going to change for him? They've not got very much Champions League experience in that squad, where I feel like they need to have more. They should have bought more players that have played Champions League football. I think there was a few available. I feel like if any of their leadership group gets injured, then they're going to crumble, just like we saw last season when Saliba got injured and they just weren't there mentally to go out and win the game. Honestly, I'd love to have more faith in Arsenal, but it's not convincing, and I think they're going to finish 5th. And now Arsenal fans are going to get even more mad at me with who I picked for 4th, which is Chelsea. They've brought in some incredible signings: Nkunku, Nick Jackson, Angelo, and they're going to bring in Axel Darcy, which I think is as good as the Badiashile signing, because Badiashile and Darcy would have been 2 centre-backs I would have loved at Liverpool. So they're both great, talented, young, athletic centre-backs, and I think they're just going to prosper this season. They got 1 game a week, they've got Pochettino, they got rid of a lot of the old players in their squad, they got a very young squad, and I feel like they're going to be like that Arsenal of last season, that are very good, get themselves in a groove of just winning games and they'll finish in the top 4 and secure Champions League football for next season. 3rd, I'm going with a team that I wouldn't have wanted to put this high up if I was being biased, but they have to be this high up. Manchester United. I can't lie. Mount, I wanted him at Liverpool. Onana's a great signing. Højlund is decent. I think they're going to get Sofyan Amrabat. So they've addressed their midfield issue by getting Sofyan Amrabat. They've addressed their striker issue. Højlund, great signing. He's a number 9, an actual number 9. They need an actual number 9. Will he score goals? I'm not sure, and that's why they're in 3rd for me. They'll finish 3rd place, but a very competitive 3rd place to the team that I've got in 2nd, that we're going to move on to right now, which is my club, the boys behind me, the Anfield Road boys, Liverpool. Much needed midfield overhaul, and if the rumours that Romeo Lavia is coming is true, then that is the midfield complete. They have 3 midfielders there that can last the majority of the games for the season, and they just need players off the bench, really. Like Curtis Jones as well, we saw how good he was. Harvey Elliott seems to be maturing as an adult. Darwin Núñez seems to be on form in pre-season. If he can carry that into the Premier League season, he's going to be scoring ridiculous amounts of goals. He'll probably be up there with Harry Kane if he stays. I'm not going to say Haaland, that's a bit too far, but he'll be up there with Harry Kane. He'll be up there with Salah for goals. Maybe Salah might drop off because he won't be getting as much goals because Darwin's scoring them all. Got rid of Henderson, club captain, going. Milner, club vice captain, going. Fabinho, gone. Like 3 midfielders, but 3 midfielders that were definitely overdue their exits at Liverpool. Obviously, they have Europa League football. It's a chance to play players like Ben Doak, who's looked really good during pre-season. A chance to give players like Jarell Konsa, Connor Bradley, Bobby Clark, against those teams in like Hungary. It's a chance to just give them some minutes, mature them a lot, let them play in a European competition, let them feel what it's like to play on a European night. I think they're going to finish 2nd, and a very convincing 2nd. But first, as you can tell, it's Man City again. I don't know if there's a team in world football that can get near Manchester City right now. Obviously, they lost Gundogan, but they brought in Kovacic. They've lost Mahrez, but it doesn't really matter because they can use Foden. They can give Cole Palmer his chance finally. Like, there's so much talent, not just in the squad, in the youth team. And then they've got the money just to buy whoever they want. They're going to bring in Josko Gvardiol, who's ridiculous. Going to be the most expensive centre-back signing ever. And yeah, that squad just gets stronger and stronger. They're at a point right now where the squad's in a good shape. They don't really need to add too much, but Man City always find a way to sprinkle in that little bit extra quality. And if Haaland does what Haaland does and replicates last season, they're going to be a serious problem. That way, I don't see anyone getting near them, and they're going to finish first. They'll probably go back-to-back on the Champions League as well, if I'm honest. And yeah, it's just going to be another successful season for Manchester City. I have nothing else to say. Let me know what you think of my predictions in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you all in the next video, which will be a football video. So if you made it this far, you know what the next video is. Peace.